Welcome to the Diary of an Apartment Investor podcast. I'm your host, Brian Briscoe with Streamline Capital. Very excited to welcome to the show today, Calvin Lowe. So Calvin, how's it going today?
Great. How are you, Brian? Thanks for having me on today.
Doing amazing here. So how's Southern California today?
It's a little cloudy today, but last week or so had some good weather, nice and shiny. My son has his engagement party, so it was a beautiful day for that day at least. So
Awesome.
the clouds opened up. So
What day was the engagement party?
it was this past Saturday, a couple
Okay.
days.
Yeah, we had an outdoor wedding here. Actually, it wasn't here, it was Boise, but ended up being a perfect day for an outdoor wedding too. So yeah, at least the weather's working out for us.
Right?
But yeah, congratulations on that engagement. I know you had a daughter just married too.
Yeah, just 3 weekends ago. So seems like a never-ending story. But they're 15 months apart, so I'm not
Mhm.
too surprised by the timeline actually. So
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. Our first got married her third anniversary is coming up this
wow,
summer. So, and our second daughter, she's 3 years younger, amazingly is engaged right now.
there
So
you go. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So fun stuff, fun stuff. So let's do this. Let's talk a little bit about, your life prior to multifamily investing. Tell us where you came from, what you were doing, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I'm a native Southern Californian, so born and raised in Orange County. Currently, I am a full-time physician. I work in the emergency department at Children's Hospital Los Angeles, and this is my 31st academic year. So
Wow.
just been working all those hours and time, and real estate has been part of my life for
Mhm.
all my life. My mom, she's 90, and she just has a real little single-family portfolio. And growing up, I was, doing all the renovations, so to speak, when
Yeah.
tenant moved out. I was the one that cleaned up the toilets and painted and tiles and all that stuff, but didn't really appreciate it because she pushed me to go to, med school and
Mhm.
just been doing that, just working really hard and, providing for my family. And here I am now.
Awesome. Awesome. So 30 years as a physician, same hospital.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't see that very often, do you? I mean, do you have a lot of colleagues who've been there as long as you have?
Yeah, it's funny because you bring that up because there's a lot of turnover in different specialties and so on. But our emergency department, we have very, very low turnover. There's probably second or third in terms of tenure, and there's a
Hmm.
lot of people who've been there at least 20 years plus.
Hmm.
So a lot of junior colleagues who are coming on now, so they see how it actually is a really close-knit family. So we've gone through all our different life events together, professionally and personally together.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's kind of a generational thing. I think our parents' generation, they were all doing, one job for 40, 50 years. That's what my
Right?
grandpa did. That's what my dad did. I guess I did a 20-year, military career. So I guess I did the
Yeah,
same
that
thing.
works.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that works. Well, cool. So you say your mom had her portfolio, which I assume, had you at least accustomed to the idea prior to. What was your first foray into real estate investing?
Well, it was through Steve Louie through Vertical Street
Mhm.
Ventures. He's been
Yep.
a good friend of mine for about 25 years, and how
Okay.
we go into this in this business is all about relationships and trust. And
Hmm.
my wife and I said, what we're going to do as we're getting older for our retirement, is looking for passive income streams. And Steve came up to me and started talking about that. I said, wow, if it weren't for you, Steve, we would have never got into this. So we started investing as limited partners just to see what it was like and got really into it for that for
Hmm.
about a year and a half or so. And then just looking at all the tax benefits. My wife and I have had the ideal situation where I'm full time.
Hmm.
Peggy is a homemaker. So we're working our real estate professional status so that all of our passive income can become active and just wipe out
Yeah.
all of my taxes into my W-2.
Yeah. I love it when you have the ability to do that, and for those listening, if one spouse in a couple qualifies as a real estate professional, it works for both people. So that would allow them to take all of their depreciation and offset active income, which is absolutely amazing. It's one of those things that if you don't know about that provision in the in tax law, that's something you probably should check out. And incidentally, we just had an accountant do a video for us on that exact thing inside the Tribe of Titans. So if you're not a member of that and you want to learn more, that's easy to do. So, all right, self promo aside, I don't do that very often on the podcast, but But yeah, so as far as you and Peggy together, I know we're sending Peggy, at least a couple hours worth of work a month. So, having her work on the Eleanor Rigby apartments that
Yes.
we partnered on. So I love that you guys are doing that, and I love that you're able to take advantage of that part of the tax law. So
Yeah, I appreciate that because it's 500 hours, right, of material hours, and
I think it's
well,
750.
750 total, but
Yeah.
500 have to be
Mhm.
material hours. So it's
Yep.
you really have to work at it and try to accumulate all those hours.
Yeah. Yeah. And it ends up being, equivalent of a part-time job. I think it's like what, 15 hours a week is what you
Yeah,
need to average. And like I said, if one spouse, and your wife's perfect, she's a homemaker, but she doesn't have other income to compete, or other stuff to compete with that. But
right,
so Steve Louie, unfortunately, Steve Louie was how we met, because I went to a Vertical Street Ventures conference.
right.
Actually, the first one I went to, I spoke and you were playing Calvis.
I was the MC for that
Yeah.
conference, and it was just interesting. That I think it was the first one, and I mean, I had no idea I was doing. Steve just came up to me and just said, "Hey, you're a great public speaker. We'll love for you to MC this." So I was learning on the job, so to speak. But I leveraged that to meet you and other speakers. I mean, obviously
Yeah.
headliners in the world of multifamily, right? So it was really cool that we got to meet, and we've since partnered on a couple of deals, which is, I think is it's wonderful from that.
Yeah, and you know what? It's interesting. I've learned a long time ago. Anytime somebody's going to put you on a stage, you say yes. Because something you just mentioned, when I saw you on stage as an MC, I assumed that you had a lot of real estate experience in your background, and I was
It's good.
surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was one of the things because that year I actually went to Vertical Street Ventures to their student academy just to sit on their classes, meet people there and sort of learn just as one day type of thing. And it got to Peggy and I, we probably should do this because it's actually there's so much out there that we can do using the equity of our home, learning about this stuff, meeting a lot of people. So that's where we enrolled in the Vertical Street Ventures Student Academy. And that's where the learning curve just was right there. And just when it came to the second conference, I was ready to go. So I learned a
Yeah.
lot more.
Yeah. And that's where I remember sitting down just off the stage. It was when it was, I don't remember who the speaker was, but it was right before I was going on stage. That's where we really connected. I mean, we kind of connected prior to that, very more casually, but that's where we sat down
Right.
and really started talking. But yeah, conferences, great place to meet people. So
Yeah, it's all about the networking, building relationships, and really recommend that. Really,
yeah,
truly.
absolutely. So let's talk about the first deal that you got into as a GP. How did that come about, and how did that go for you guys?
Yeah, well, the first one we did was in Phoenix,
Mhm.
truly as a GP because through Vertical Street Ventures we had to apply as a student GP, so we were running the
Mhm.
show basically as an operator and so forth. So my superpower is a capital raiser because I like to talk, meet with people. It actually went very well because I was able to raise $1 million in about a week or two to
Wow.
get that going, and it shows like wow, this is do I really have a superpower? So it gave me a lot of
Mhm.
encouragement to do that. And the property's doing well,
Mhm.
95% occupied and meeting our rents that the pro formas and things. So that just spurned us on, for future deals afterwards.
Yeah, yeah. And just with that capital raise, well, let me ask the question. So what were the biggest challenges with that first capital raise?
Yeah, that's really tough because I'm not a salesperson. I'm not a
Mhm.
marketing person. I have nothing to do with finance. I'm a doctor. I do things. I heal people. I take care of them. So a
Mhm.
little bit of different type of I don't want to call it a sales pitch, but it's just something to come about and say, hey, I have something that could be beneficial for you. So a lot of people were coming back and said, what are you doing this multi-level marketing thing? I said, no, it's multi-apartment investing.
Yeah.
So just about education and just trying to resonate. A lot of them have this mindset, like me, as your doctor, you work, you save, and you just get on that road. And it's really just trying to change the mindset of some of these people, not only my colleagues, but even my own family members too, because they were raised that way, right? To pay off their house, save for this or that, for that you're not able to reach those retirement funds until you
Mhm.
turn 59 and a half or so where you can get it without the pre-withdrawal taxes. So that was the challenge, is the mindset of people. Like, this is a little bit different. Of course, you're investing a lot of money, not, it's not like $5,000 to $6,000. It's hundreds or 50 or tens of to hundred thousands of dollars. So a different type of mindset, and just a matter of, having them think about it, and just coming back to them and say, hey, I've been through the wars as a doctor. I've lost a lot of time with my kids and my wife, and it's something here that I want to think about, because we just work too hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, when you did your first capital raise, and this is something I see a lot, I'm just curious what your thoughts are on it. A lot of people in their very first capital raise, you go to your friends and family and your immediate network, and you're able to get, money from those people in your immediate network, but that makes the second capital raise a little bit more difficult because, the low-hanging fruit is gone. Did you find something similar in your case, or was it different?
Yeah, I have to totally agree with that. And plus, the pandemic didn't help either,
Ooh,
right?
okay.
Because things slowed down, the market
Mhm.
changed a little bit. But you're absolutely right. All the low-hanging fruits. I did have some investors who've actually invested in all my deals,
All right.
so it was easy
Okay.
to go back to them. But it just now just reaching out to, extending the network out a little bit more. My avatar initially was the female attending physician, because they have to balance their lives as a wife, as a mother, as a full-time doctor, and so forth. Hey, that same thing goes with nurses, right? And
Yeah.
other people in healthcare, because they work just as long hours. They're, just as important on the front line, especially working in the emergency
Mhm.
departments. So, been reaching out to my friends in that capacity. And, it's again, it's still a challenge to the mindset. Some people see it right away. Some people, let me think about it,
Mhm.
or they may not be ready. But at least, I plant the seed in their mind so they think about it as they get older and their families are expanding, and say, wow, maybe this is something that we should look into.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's one of these things where you mentioned it, you got to keep on expanding your network. If you're going to do well at capital raising, you've got to keep on. I mean, I think that picking fruit from a tree is a really good example. Once all that low-hanging fruit's gone, you've got to do something to be able to reach the higher branches. And I mean, you've been able to do that successfully so far. Now, I mean, just besides talking with people, what else have you implemented? For example, actually, that's a leading question. I hate, fishing for answers, but let me just tell you what I want you to say. How about that? You do a networking event too, right? Somewhere in the Los Angeles
Yes.
area? Okay.
Yeah, in Southern California, I'm partner host of the Passive Income Club. So some of my friends through the VSP Student Academy, we got together, and we do a monthly meetup,
Hmm.
just as speakers talking about passive income streams, anything from obviously real estate, but insurance vehicles.
Yep.
Actually, we have one coming up this week. We're talking about underwriting. So just get a better understanding what's behind the scenes, so to speak, as you're investing or doing your due diligence in looking to invest in a real estate deal. It's a great place to network as well. That's my favorite part. After
Yeah.
we go through the Q&A session, I say, hey, we're going to hit here and meet other people here. And I've met some investors that way, or just talk to other people where they have investment opportunities where I've had the opportunity to invest too. So it's all about networking, right? It's
Yeah.
just making those relationships, all like-minded people. They want to get out of the rat race. And I've met some of my doctors who I haven't seen in a while. They've come to this. I tell about my story, and they said, "Oh, wow, Calvin, one of the things, the best compliment I've ever received was one of my former residents said, hey, I trusted you to train me as a physician. Now I'm trusting you to train me as an investor." I'm like, wow, okay, here we go.
Well, awesome, awesome. So now for people who are trying to do the same thing, do you think the juice is worth the squeeze starting like one of these in-person networking events?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you
Yeah,
get to learn. So I'm still learning, right? Another old saying is, if you're the smartest person in the room, find another room. And I
exactly.
don't think I'll leave this room anytime soon, because I'm learning so much. And just like medicine, I learn something new from the residents every day. It's like, wow, that's something cool. I go to these networking events or do these conferences. It's, wow, I didn't pick up on that before. It's something I need to look into.
Mhm.
So that the learning curve, I thought, for multifamily real estate was much steeper than it was for med school, all my
Mhm.
medical stuff. So, but it's exciting to learn these things. I try to keep my mind active and
Mhm.
learn these things so I can help teach others and get into the space.
Yeah. I hope I don't know. You said it's bigger learning curve than med school. That seems a little surprising, but Wow. Yeah, I like that that contrast there. So now what would you say about multifamily investing that has the really, really big learning curve there?
I would just say all the things behind it, just, yeah, the capital raising, all that stuff. That's all like the fluff and everything. Yeah, let's go do this, but it's all the things that are behind it. I'm just
Mhm.
one part of the team, right? Because that's the whole thing is being a team because I'm not a great underwriter. I'm not a asset manager, but just learning these things where you get the
Mhm.
best people to team up with so they can use their expertise. And I can also learn with that as well because I'm part of the team. Yes, I bring in the capital, but it has to work,
Yeah.
right? So that we meet our projections and so our investors get their projected profits and so forth.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, for somebody who's just starting, I'm asking you, I mean, this is kind of like prelude to later. What's the best way to accelerate that learning curve?
I would say just educational things
Mhm.
like your podcast,
Yep.
go on social media, just hook up with people, look for local meetups. If you can go to a conference just to see what it's all about, see if it's a good fit for you, because you have to try it to
Yeah.
see, because it can be challenging at times. Because here I am trying to balance a full-time job, I'm balancing this,
Yep.
and it's somewhat of a challenge. But no, I like it, I love it. I just want to pursue it and continue it because I know my medical career is on the downside, I hope, so that I can
Mhm.
cut back and work when I want as a physician, not when I have to, right? So that I can enjoy the things and continue in this realm here.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Now, what's best case scenario with real estate investing for you? I mean, looking towards the future, how do you imagine things playing out for you?
Well, I would think that I think in the end, I wouldn't want to become a purely passive investor. I want to scale up, obviously, just
Yep.
to go up and make a go ahead with a few more deals to the point where what, it's to the point where I can just relax, be a passive investor, go to conferences, say hi to people, say hey to you, hey Brian, how's it going? And I can be your investor as well. Come to your deals. But I think that's the goal, just to scale up to a point where okay, hey, I'm to the point where I can just be exclusively passive, but
Yeah.
again, it's still going to be in real estate, and that's the way to go.
You know what? I have similar aspirations. Where do I want to be long term? I want to be 100% passive in all my investments. It's kind of like the cash flow quadrant idea.
Right,
You're self-employed or you're a business owner or you're an employee for most of your life.
right.
And then getting to that I quadrant, man, that's
Yeah,
where I want to get to. And I think this is a really good vehicle for getting there. So
absolutely.
awesome. So a couple of questions as we try to wrap up. What's next for you?
We'll continue to look for deals. We're partnering right now in a deal in South Salt Lake City. So
Hmm.
just continue to look at that. I know the market is kind of weird, but
Hmm.
that's people say when people are scared, that's the time to go in and invest, right?
Yeah.
I love your saying is not is you don't wait to invest in real estate, invest in real estate and wait, right?
Yeah.
So
And you're right. I mean, there are a lot of people that are fearful right now. There's a lot of people. I mean, I had an investor tell me just last week, he was waiting for clear signals to start investing again. I had another investor last week tell me that he's lost money on three separate deals, and so his wife has basically shut down any real estate investing. So yeah, when we start looking at it, it is a little tougher environment because a lot of the people, some of the people that have money are happy to invest. Some of the people that have money are scared. It's just like we're
yeah.
seeing a lot of people losing money or we're losing money. I can easily reconcile that in my mind. It's just like prices are extremely low. Now's a great time to buy,
Yeah.
but it's
Well, we were at best ever a couple of weeks ago, right? And
yeah,
one of the things was like, keep your eyes on the horizon because you don't have to worry about today,
yeah.
right? What's going to happen in 5, 7 years, right? Property values should go up. We have history behind us,
We got thousands of years of history behind us,
right?
to say that property's, going to be going up. So
Yeah. So the best time to invest was yesterday, and the second best time was today.
today, yeah. I mean, everybody, has their own way of processing information, but I'm looking at the numbers a couple of years ago, the Eleanor Rigby that we partnered on, we bought that at 10 million. 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, that property, they had a broker opinion of value that came in at 13.5.
Wow.
And so if it was worth 13.5 in early 22 and we're buying at 10 million, I mean, that's a really good sign that it's a great time to invest.
Right. Right.
So prices might go down a tiny bit from here, but for the most part, I think we're going to be good.
It's
Well, all right. Next question. What advice would you give somebody who is just starting out in the multifamily arena?
Yeah, it's all about education. Sometimes it can feel like a fire hose, right? Things are just thrown at you, but take your time because there's a lot of stuff out there that's free.
Mhm.
Like it's on YouTube, social media. Again, go to meetups that are local to you and just learn and just hook
Yeah.
up with people that you see. And everybody's on social media are very accessible so
Yeah.
that you can message them. They can, you can make an appointment with these people and talk. And that's what I've been doing, just to reach out and just continue to learn. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah. And you mentioned networking a lot, and that's, I can't understate how important that is. It's everything you do in this business has to do with networking. You're looking for a partner, best way to do it, you network. You're looking for investors, best way to do it, network. So it's, throughout a cliche, it's not what you know, it's who you know type things. But I mean, since you've mentioned that word many, many times before, I'm just gonna triple and quadruple down on it. Network. You gotta be networking.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's great because you don't know who you're gonna meet, what
mhm.
their special gifts are, and again, potential partnerships with that.
Yeah. Something that I try to do, I try to reach out to everybody that connects with me on LinkedIn. It takes a lot of effort. And oh, by the way, my first reach out is like a cut and paste from a word pad, but the idea is, if I've got 50 or 80 people that are hitting that connect button every week, and that is actually my average, but if I got 50 to 80 people connecting with me a week, who knows? One of those might be somebody who would really help me move the ball forward. So awesome. All right. And last thing, how can listeners learn more about you?
Yeah, through LinkedIn. Also, pages on Instagram and Facebook. You can see my logo there is PEACEquity. I just want to shout out to my family because PEACEquity, the first
Mhm.
four letters are the first initials of my family's name, Peggy, Elizabeth, Austin, and Calvin.
Mhm.
So it's www.peacequity. It's spelled kind of differently. So there's no double E. It's PEACEQUITY. Also at cal@peacequity.com. And my phone number is there too, 714-747-1443.
Awesome. So, I mean, if you're watching this on YouTube, it's part of his virtual background. If you're listening to this on, regular podcast, we're going to have that information in the show notes for you. So definitely reach out to him and, you know, see if you can do some networking. That said, Cal, thanks for coming on the show today. Very much appreciate your time.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks again for having me here.
Yeah. I guess my last piece of advice to everybody would be don't wait to buy real estate and wait.